Hey guys, welcome to the first episode. I know we did the introduction episode, okay? So if you guys haven't seen that, get back and see it. But the short training on God's training, all right, the podcast on how God wants us to move. This is how I see it. Read the Bible. This is what I'm trying to get back the natural way of human beings surviving on this earth and also healing. All right. So the first thing I want to get to, and it's all under the Earth Strong brand. Okay. So the Earth Strong brand I started about 6, 7 years ago. It's a spiritual, mental, and physical breakdown, okay, of how I see human beings as one. Okay. This is the one area that I think most people miss. Some people have one, some people have two, very few people have three. And that's why we don't heal completely. And that's why we're never complete as human beings. There are some people, but the majority of people, I'd say 99.9% of people never get this. And I think if we can understand these three components, we could heal ourselves and live a much longer life. I would like to see people 160, 170, 180, but not with all these gimmicks that everybody's trying to throw out to you. Oh, I want to take this person's blood and put it in myself because they're younger. I don't want that. I want to do it how God designed us. You know, you read about Noah, you read about Methuselah, 900 some odd years. Yes, I understand that was before the time of, the great flood. Noah came, I know he lived through it, but how did he do it? How did some of them afterwards continue to do it? That's what I want to get into. Moses, 300 years old, guys like that. How did they do it? Elijah, 300 some odd. How did they do it? How did they live so long? And now science is actually coming. I'm not a huge always science guy because I think science has been butchered to push an agenda of whatever way it is. But science is actually coming around to understanding that maybe we should be living to at least 120, 130, 140. And there are some theories that maybe even 3, 4, 500 years that we could actually live naturally. That's the key. And that's what I'm trying to get across, not these gimmicks. Okay. So I wanted to get into episode one here. Episode one is how I see the human body and what the body knows. And it's really not much of a debate. You ask most people, they'll probably agree with this one. Okay. Most people who really dive into it and understand it. The body knows one thing. That's it. It's the only thing it knows, and it's survival. That's it. Once you understand that, you can understand how the body reacts and how it's supposed to do things. Now, all survival, and I've spoken about this for about 10 years when I started to dive deep into stuff. Survival then comes two parts. And this is it. This is the only two that come off of this. It's healing, how your body heals, and how it adapts. Okay. So if you're a cold weather person, right, you live up in the cold, when you go down south, if you move down south, okay, deep south, sometimes those summers can get very unbearable for you because you're not used to it. Same thing. That's why you don't see people really migrating to the north because they can't handle the cold. They're just too soft. It's just their mindset does not allow it. Now they probably could, but their mind allows them to break down. And that's what I talk about the spiritual, mental, and physical. They don't have that ability to do that. Okay. The healing and adapting is so important because this got me really thinking. And it comes from a verse in the Bible, and it's under John 5:6. Okay. And the verse goes somewhat like this. Now, I know each Bible is a little bit different. So take your interpretation, whatever your Bible is, but at least go look up John 5:6. And it says, Jesus asked the man at the pool, and I'll go into it in a second what the whole story is. Do you want to be made well? That's all he says. He says this to the man. Now, going back to context, what happens? This man's sitting outside this pool, okay, of water. And the water heals people. Hmm. Why water is so important, but not the water that you're thinking. Okay. We got it. We're going to dive into that in a whole other episode. Okay. But heals people. But it's once an angel comes into it, stirs it up, spins it up. The first person who gets in, guess what? Gets healed. This man could never get there because he could not move. So for 38 years, he sat out this pool. 38 years. Think about that. How many people? We can't even sit 30 seconds. Okay. 38 years sat there. Jesus sees him, comes by, and he asks the man, do you want to be made well? That's all he asked him. The man says, yes. He said, well, then get up and walk. The man's faith, his mental fortitude to sit there for 38 years, and his physical ability to get up got the man up, and he walked away. Now, you hear about these throughout the time of Jesus. He heals people. Even Peter's healed people. A lot of these guys, a lot of apostles and stuff during that time were healing people, people who were sick and never thought they could move, but they were being healed because of their faith. Okay, healed them. The man lasted 38 years, survival, healing and adapting. It's an unbelievable thing when you think about it, how the human body acts. If we can understand these parts and components of it, we could accomplish so much more in this world. We sell ourselves short. Now, doesn't mean you can abuse your body and it's going to heal because Healing is the way you dictate it. If I feed it crap and I do things, yes, it's healing. It's constantly healing. My body's healing right now. I haven't eaten anything. It's about 15 hours into it, okay, which I usually go about 16, 17 hours each day without eating, just because that's what I like. And I usually have a pretty big meal right when I, come out of it. But this is the healing process. You can heal incorrectly. You'll heal, but you can heal incorrectly, which most people do because of what they feed themselves. Oh, I don't feel well. I'll go get an antibiotic. I'll go get this. You're healing, but it's not the right way. It's not the way, that's not the natural antibiotic way. Or I sprained an ankle. I'm healing, but I haven't done it right. And then it comes back and it haunts you someplace else. Okay. These are the things. How do I adapt? I adapt to different climates. That's why I like getting outside and training because I'm adapting to that environment. Most people can't adapt very well because we live in these climate control facilities that people are scared to go outside, especially when you're in the north and it gets cold outside. People freak out. Oh my God, it's cold. Yes, it's cold. Learn to adapt. Learn to get your body to adapt to it. It can adapt. That's why people can live in very, very cold climates. I forget what the name is. It's somewhere in Russia. It's the most inhabited place in the northern, north coldest area. And I guess it's like sometimes negative some. Sometimes it's a high. Like you go outside for like 10, 15 minutes, you get frostbite. How do they live there? They adapted. Okay. You send somebody like myself there, it's going to take me a while. Would I be miserable? Probably for a time being, but I would adapt. Could everybody do it? Yes. Would everybody do it? No, because people don't like that. But that's all the body knows. That's why one of the most difficult things, and I know it's a tough subject for some, is suicide. It's a very tough thing because it's going against everything the human body wants. The human body just wants to survive. It wants to do everything it can to get by. You might live miserably, okay? It might be in pain. You might have 4 chronic diseases, but the body's still trying to survive. It's doing everything it can. And yet we continue to crush it by our stupidity, right? So go to COVID during that whole virus time. Most of the people that died, probably close to 80% of them that passed away, even though we all said it was the virus that killed them, which we know that's not true. It was all the comorbidities. You had so many other things going on that your body could not fight it off anymore. It's like, dude, I'm trying to adapt. I'm trying to survive, and you're not doing anything to help me. You have not done anything to help me. And that's the problem. This is where we need to wake up. This is where we need to get away from all the doctors telling us, well, you need to be on this medication. You need to be on. No, you need to naturally understand it. The natural way that God designed us, praying spiritually. How do I figure this stuff out? Who do I need to go to? How do I get myself right? These are the things. That's what I want to discuss with you. That's what I want you to understand. Survival. Understand the body only understands that. That's all it knows. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't know reps. It doesn't know time. It doesn't know any of that stuff. It knows, yes, it can see that it's day and it needs to be up because of circadian rhythm, but it doesn't know anything else. It doesn't know it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. It has no clue. It doesn't know that I have to do 18 reps to get something out of it. It has no clue. That's why when you give a person reps, yes, it's only for them to know, the brain to understand it, has nothing else. That's all it is. So we have to dive deeper into this stuff. And I will dive deeper into it. But for right now, I want to leave you with this. Survival. Start to think deeper about survival, how the body survives. Off of that, healing, how my body heals. If it's not healing correctly, you're doing something wrong because it is healing, but you're doing something wrong to make it heal incorrectly. And then adapting. How does it adapt? It needs to adapt and it needs to be challenged in the adaptation process. You sitting inside in the cold and sitting behind warm weather or going to a climate controlled facility to work out, you're not adapting. Yes, your muscles might adapt to the weight that you add, but it's not adapting to how God designed it to. Okay? So we're going to dive into that. Okay, we'll get deeper into it, some other podcasts, but I want you to leave you with that. Okay, survival, healing, and adapt. Get those down. Think about them. Reach out, questions, concerns, whatever I can do. Please, I want you to dive in. I want you to get communication wise. This is what it's about. How can we understand things? I don't know everything. I'm learning. I'm constantly learning. That's all I do is try to help people understand their bodies the natural way. This way, God's training, not how man thinks it should be, because that's not true. The natural way of God wanting us to live is productive, purposeful lives. Have yourself a blessed day. God bless. Reach out. Coach Bricks, all right, here at Dave at exsp.biz. All right. Be blessed, guys.